When you start exploring a spiritual path long enough, you come across certain key concepts that become impossible not to encounter. In truth, some of these concepts have become so widely spoken that you wouldn't have even need to have necessarily walked the spiritual path to have heard these, if even only in passing. The most common of these would probably be the notion of oneness. You would be hard-pressed to find someone who, in their lifetime, has never heard the phrase, "we're all one." And at this point, you could probably categorize the concept, at least the verbalization of it, as being a cliche. For the spiritually unaligned, it can be easy for this concept to fly right overhead, if not choosing to downright claim it as being hippie nonsense. As irony would have it, though, for those who do align themselves spiritually, deep comprehension of oneness and resonance with it can be a difficult and long journey to truly and fully acquire. And to do so, it has to be understood that the concept of oneness stretches way beyond the interconnection of humans and ties into what is known as panpsychism. Now, if we break down the word, we're left with pan, meaning all, and psych or psyche, meaning mind, so all mind. Now, this doesn't so much mean that it's all in the mind as much as it does that all is mind, as panpsychism is the philosophical view that not only is mind present within all things existing in the universe, but some who entertain the notion would go as deep as saying that mind itself is the fundamental substance of the universe. And just to be clear, all things means all things. We're not just talking biologically, we're talking every single thing, whether it's inanimate or not. For reassurance of understanding, let's do a quick demonstration. If you scan the surroundings you find yourself in, you may or you may not see a lot of things. For instance, right now I'm in my office, so I see a desk, a computer, a keyboard, a trash can, a lamp. I mean, there's a bunch of other things, but you get the point. According to panpsychism, mind is present with everything I've listed, and obviously even everything I didn't. Everything. And that's not to say that my desk here has a mind of its own, giving it a personality that individualizes it as a desk, but rather every component of this desk has mind. The wood, the nails, so every piece of it has mind. And that makes it fundamentally the same thing as anything else. You can look at it like this. There is nothing within our universe lacking mind, because there is nothing within our universe that isn't the universe itself. And mind is the fundamental substance of the universe. If this makes sense, even a little bit, that's awesome. But if it doesn't, or you just want to dive a little deeper, allow me to explain it the way that helped me finally make sense of it. I'll start off by explaining that, speaking for myself, truly grasping oneness relied on me understanding, or at least entertaining, the idea of the universe itself being conscious, or fundamentally being consciousness itself. A conscious universe, or the universe itself being consciousness, is a pretty big load to compute, I understand. But think of it this way. No matter what your beliefs or lack of beliefs are, spiritually or religiously, it's important to understand and silly to refute the fact that consciousness itself does exist. Consciousness is a thing. We don't really understand it all that much, but we do know it sure is the air we breathe. Even if it's intangible, it is still a thing. And it's a thing that, for whatever reason, humans eventually came to possess on levels that were previously unprecedented in respect to the levels of it everything else has on Earth. And that's just the truth. In terms of what we can readily see and comprehend, humans are the alpha species of this planet. And you have to ask yourself why that is, because we're certainly not the strongest living things on Earth. Some would argue that we're not the smartest, but the one thing we do have going for us is a higher level of consciousness than anything else on Earth. Our consciousness is our main advantage. And you don't even have to look at it in terms of measurement, because using our consciousness, we can observe that other things experience consciousness, albeit at different levels. And I'll say this one more time. Consciousness exists, and we don't have to understand it to at least understand that it is in existence. So how did it come into existence? Well, truly understanding how is the million-dollar question, so to speak. But in the most general sense, although still a mystery, we can safely say the ability of consciousness was created and granted through means of the universe. Since it exists within the universe, then through some means, the universe itself, mechanically speaking, is responsible for it, since there's nothing within the universe that can't not be a part of the universe. So at this point, you have to ask yourself something. How can anything grant an ability that it itself does not have? You can't create something from nothing, and you definitely can't give something that you yourself do not possess at some level. And you could argue synthesis, but the fact of the matter is, anything created through means of synthesis, it came to the point of being created through means which were already accessible within the universe. Anything synthetic is still something from something, and it can never be something from nothing because the properties of it were already there. So how can anything within the universe have consciousness if the universe itself, at some level, doesn't have consciousness to give? Because of this, we can safely say that consciousness has to be present within the universe for the things within it to experience consciousness. Because as said earlier, there is nothing present within or inside of the universe that isn't a part of the universe. And if you're having a hard time conceptualizing consciousness as substance, look at it like this. Take space. You can't hammer a nail into space, even though space is present throughout the universe. Space exists. Space is a thing. And just as consciousness is a thing, they both exist just intangibly. And there's other ways to visualize it. You don't necessarily have to go that deep. You can be mindful of the atom. Atoms are the building block of physical material, and fundamentally, your entire reality is composed of them. Our planet, the air you breathe, the ground you walk on, the clothes you wear, your skin, everything at the foundation is all atoms. You and your physical surroundings are merely a grid of atoms, and this grid reaches deep within you and extends far from you. Right now, there's nothing you can see that is not a part of this grid. And we can further simplify it. You can take the notion of us being star children, as some call it, in the sense that nearly all of the elements that compose the human body were forged in stars. If you accept the Big Bang Theory, you can simply keep in mind how condensed the entire universe is theorized to have been moments before expansion, possibly being a singularity on a quantum level. And even though it now exceeds quantum, at least from human perspective, the universe is still a singularity because everything within it is simply a part of it. It is it. Everything within it is everything in existence. Think of how the human body has many elements, many parts, but in whole, it's still a body. The universe is one body, just as your body is one body. The universe is one thing, and that's why it's called universe, not biverse or triverse or quadverse. It's one. Right now, you're existing at the same time as everything else that exists. And there's nowhere you can be that isn't within the universe. And there's nothing that can exist within the universe that isn't a part of it. We are a part of the universe, and just as your heart is a part of your body. Your body is the only body that is you. There is only one you within one universe. You are one. We are one. All is one.